Hey, Charlie, it's just Heath Porter, Charlie Villard at Villard Winery. He is in Casablanca in Chile, one of the cooler growing environments down there. And if you can see behind him, it looks like you got some action going in harvest in the cellar. What are you guys doing down there? Topping barrels?
Yeah. Hey, Heath, how you doing? Yeah,
Awesome.
we're here. We're actually topping in some Chardonnay barrels that are about to finish fermentation. They fermented in barrels, so now the volume is going down, the foam is settling down, so now it's time to top them up so they don't have too much air inside the barrel.
Great. So how many barrels of Chardonnay will you do this year?
Well, we use mainly 300-liter barrels, so it's around, about 20 barrels, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So how's this harvest going? Obviously, you've got a lot of crazy stuff going on. We were talking about it earlier. How is the virus affecting your work in the cellar for this harvest?
Well, at first it was very scary and hectic, and so we decided not to have any helpers from anywhere else to come into the winery. So we were basically the small team of us making the wines, and on top of us, one of our workers was sick, but not because of the virus. So we were one person less, and we had a lot of orders also. So we decided just to do it ourselves. So it's been long days, long hours, and not letting anybody come into the winery, and also not going out too much to the vineyard. I've been supervising, but I haven't been actually picking and carrying buckets full of grapes and anything, just in case, to make sure we don't have any risk of contamination. So it's been a weird year. In one stage, we said, let's go for it, let's pick everything and pick it fast. But it would have meant that we would have had harvest too early. But lucky enough, we harvested all the whites, the pinots, and the reds. We see that we're managing quite well the situation, so we said, well, let's wait a little bit more. And actually, everybody in the valley has finished harvesting, and we still have all the Syrah, Grenache, Cabernet Franc still hanging on the plant. So I think we made a good decision, because we've got nobody sick, nobody with any symptoms. And so we're going to start attacking next week, and it's going to make a huge difference, not picking 10 days ago and picking next week. So I think we made a good decision, but with a lot of taking care of precautions and everything, protocols.
Yeah, for sure. Been talking about picking 10 days later on grapes like the Syrah and the Grenache and the Cab Franc. Would those grapes have already been harvested had you had a full team, or is this something that you just sort of were waiting on anyway?
Actually, we would have harvested ourselves some weeks, 10 days ago, just to make sure that we get everything in before somebody gets ill. But the grapes were not ripe yet.
Yeah.
So the decision was to keep them on the vines and wait for a while and have the perfect moment of ripeness on the grapes, and to be able to get our top quality, what we're searching for. We're talking about Tanagra, we're talking about a new wine that we want to make. And just because of the virus, we would have harvested way too earlier. But I think we made the great decision to wait a little bit longer.
I agree. That's great that you guys were taking that into consideration, and I'm sure that all of the workers are really appreciative of that as well, right?
Yeah, we've been very, always, team all together, and that's why having lunch all together, tasting a different wine, but not from ours, maybe from somewhere else of the world, every lunch. And so it's been very good, and it's the first year that we don't have any other foreigners or outsiders that come and work for the harvest. So it's been very good for the team also, because it really gets everyone together.
So you're second generation in the wine business. Your dad, who I met a month ago when I was there, being the first generation. He's obviously done huge things for the wine business in Australia and all around the world. What would be the one thing that, as a second generation winemaker, winery owner, that people would not think that would be something that they wouldn't understand about running a business or being in the wine business, or something that you see that people wouldn't understand?
Any kind of, well, the wine industry has always been very traditional, and I think the style of winemaking has been very also traditional in the last 30, 40, 50 years. But in the last 10 years, things have changed a bit, and we're searching for more freshness in the wines, more lengthness, not so bulky wines. Nevertheless, Villard has never been in that consideration. We've always made elegant wines. But we're pushing the bar a little bit further. That's why, for example, you can see we have some big barrels here. Instead of making small barrels, bring them too oaky, we're making more fresher wines, longer wines. And also, as new generation, we're going into the new trendy stuff, a little bit more hipster wine bars, things like natural wines, orange wines, and that's a little bit different of what the new generation is supporting to this new era.
Which winery would you say was the most influential to how you make wine now? I mean, you were in Burgundy, Bordeaux, Beaujolais, Australia.
Obviously, was Beaujolais. That is one of my favorite wines. But also Italy, with a friend of mine that she's called Elena Pantaleone from La Stoppa Vineyard.
Yeah.
She has been making natural orange wines and natural wines since before it was even trendy. And in that stage, I learned a lot, but I really didn't dig into it. And it was so funny that after many years, I said, wow, what a harvest that one was. Where I learned such techniques that at the beginning I couldn't even apply in this winery. And now, after all these years, that was in 2005. Imagine that, it's 15 years ago. And we're putting those techniques into the winery now after so much time.
So you make Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Syrah, Grenache. You've got your fingers on a lot of different grapes, and you're a wine lover of wines around the world as well. If you could trade vineyards or wineries for a year with anybody in any place in the world, where would it be?
Somewhere I've never been before, and that would be Rhone Valley.
The Rhone, okay. Any place in particular? Cornas, Hermitage,
There's another Villard in the Rhone Valley, François Villard. I've met him in ProWine and Vinexpo. I would love to work with him. He makes awesome wines, but he's not a relative from us. But I've tasted his wines and they're fantastic. So I would be more than pleased to work a year there at his place. Yeah.
Maybe I'll call him up after we finish this and see what he says.
Okay.
You're also an avid surfer. You've surfed all over the world. Where's your favorite place to surf, and what's the biggest wave you've ever caught?
As I was saying, my favorite place to surf would be Chile. Chile has the longest coast, country that has the longest coast, and we have a very active ocean. We have swells very constant, and on top of that, the water is cold, so we don't have many foreigners that come down here, so the water is not that crowded. And I like it here. Obviously, every time that I travel and there's warm water, it's like paradise. I would love to go to some places I've never been, like Hawaii or something like that. So if anybody has a distributor or importer over there, here we are.
Some people watching this video will probably chime in, so you might get your win.
Okay.
That would be awesome. What is the best thing to cook?
What do I like cooking? I actually a little bit. I just grab whatever's in the fridge and decide what to do. But for example, we have a full day here after lunch, and we had an awesome lasagna that I made, all handmade, the sauce and everything. And so I like a lot of Italian. Italian for cooking is me. I really like, but I like using the oven a lot for meats and whatever. But cooking is part of my my life. I love it. It's my best, how do you say, entretención, like hobby is to cook, with my girlfriend and friends. That's awesome. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's tough to be in the wine business and not love food as much as you love wine, because the two of them just go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Your father is French. Your mother is from Chile. And
yeah, my mother is from Chile.
And
I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was born in Australia. I lived 10 years there, but my parents lived 17 years there. My father worked in the wine industry over there for 17 years. And in 1989, we moved from Australia to Chile. And that's when we arrived to the Valley of Casablanca, when there was only about 180 hectares planted in the whole valley. Today, there's also almost 6,000 hectares planted in the valley. So we were very pioneer in the valley. Yeah. So I had a great childhood, but I feel I'm more Chilean than anything else. Obviously, once I get outside of the country, I feel more Chilean than anything else. But obviously, here in Chile, I feel a little bit foreigner. But I can't say that I picked up a lot of things from Australia as I was a child. But I did pick up a lot of things from France, as my father always teached us to have dinner all together at night, always to have cheese after dinner, before dessert, those kind of French customs. So the French influence is very present in my culture. Yeah.
Yeah. And God bless the French for the cheese, please. God.
Yeah. Exactly.
If it wasn't for cheese, I would weigh 100 pounds. Are you kidding me? I love cheese. Oh man. What is an unknown fact about you that would somebody outside of the wine business would never know about you? Maybe you have a hidden talent. You can juggle. You ride unicycles. And what's something crazy nobody knows?
I'm a bit fearless. I'm not that afraid from certain things, like big wave surfing or maybe something new. I will go for it. Nothing with music. I love music, but I don't play any instrument. But I like a lot of sports. Whatever sport, I'm pretty got easy talent to any kind of sport, and I'm quite romantic also. So that's a hidden.
I don't want to hear about the romance part, to be honest.
Yeah.
How is the vintage looking? How's 2020 looking for Chile, for Casablanca?
2020 is a difficult year because we had spring frost. We had a huge drought. No rain. It's been one of the driest years ever. So harvest has been different because some varieties were not affected by the frost, so they were harvested normally. Some were affected by the frost, so the yields were much lower. So it all depends on the variety. But nevertheless, the results that we have had until now have been very, very good, very promising. Chardonnays look good, and Chardonnay was really affected by the frost. We had a very low yield, less than 50% than a normal yield year. And Pinots were very low also, but we harvested them very early. And we just have a little lot that we're going to finish off on Monday. And Syrah is looking promising, yeah. And Grenache is going to be our first harvest, so that's very exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting. We were talking about the Grenache when I was down there. Are you going to do the Grenache single bottle, or are you going to blend it with the Syrah?
The idea at the beginning is to make it as a monovarietal by itself. My idea, hopefully, is to make a Grand Vin Grenache, but we don't know yet. We'll see once it's finished malolactic and what the quality looks like. But otherwise, it could blend into the l'assemblage. We don't know. Yeah. So we're going to do some tomato sauce this afternoon.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, look at those tomatoes.
Yeah. So we're going to put them in the oven with some garlic, olive oil. And then once they're cooked, we're going to put them in the pot and cook them for a while.
And that's going to be for dinner or for something for tomorrow?
No, it's for the week. If we have pasta or we make lasagna, we've got a huge amount because it's two of these bowls, you see? Got a second one over here. So we're going to do a big lot of tomato sauce.
Wow, that's a lot. Are those
Yeah.
did those grow in your garden?
No, I have a little producer in Casablanca that sells me his fresh stuff. So brought it to him this morning.
That's outstanding. Which wine will you drink with the tomato sauce?
Maybe a Syrah Expression. Yeah. But today with the lasagna, we had the Pinot Noir Grand Vin. Just blended in very well. It was really nice.
Do you have any bottles around there that you can show everybody so they can look at the bottles?
Yeah, of course. I'll bring some over. Yeah. So here's a magnum of Pinot Noir, Vin.
So that's the Villard, okay.
Yeah. So this is our Grand Vin range where they're 100% barrel aged, and we do a barrel selection after the aging. Then we have our top wine, Tanagra, that we'll harvest on Tuesday. This is 100% Syrah, planted in bush vines at 8,300 plants per hectare. And then we barrel ferment it. And yeah, it's a very unique wine. We only make around 4,000 bottles, depends on the year. Then we have this other range of wines, the natural wines, the JCVs, Charlie Villard. And we have a Pinot Grigio Ramato with 60 to 90 days skin contact, depends on the year. And then we have a Semillon white wine that also has some skin contact. 2019 was only 30 days skin contact. So no sulfur, no natural yeast, natural wines. Yeah.
So Charlie, you had a Pinot Gris there, but the Pinot Gris was actually rosé or pink in color. How is that possible? Isn't Pinot Gris a white wine?
Yeah, well, what I do, I leave it on the skins and I ferment it as a red wine. So actually, the skin of the Pinot Grigio gives a little bit of color to the wine. And also, a normal red wine, you leave it on contact with the skins for about 2 to 3 weeks. This was 60 days with the skins.
Yeah, and most people don't understand that Pinot Gris is actually a mutation from Pinot Noir, so it's still got the pink color to the skin, right?
Yeah, so it's got a very light pink, reddish color. But usually Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio in Italy, it's a white wine because you press the grapes immediately after picking. So you obtain the juice and you ferment the juice. But as this is done with skin contact, that's why it gets this weird color.
Yeah, I always love when people show those things because the entire world thinks Pinot Grigio is just a simple, easygoing white grape, and it's actually got a lot of things going on for it, including that color part. So cool. So, how many of your wines are available in the United States? Everything you showed us was available?
No, actually, we sell our wines in New York and Washington D.C. But a good friend of mine from Hollister, California, from the Rose Winery, he actually, we sent 2 pallets of wine to his place, and we deliver from California to anywhere in the U.S. where it's permitted. So we actually have like a wine club in the U.S. So if anybody wants to order, we can make the wines be available at their home in just 1 or 2 or 3 days. And what we have there is the 3 Grand Vins, Le Chardonnay Grand Vin, Le Pinot Noir Grand Vin, and L'Assemblage, that is our blend, and also the Tanagra.
Just contact the website or you directly.
Yeah. You basically on the website, you just send us an email and we will get back to you and cross you forward with the Rhodes family, my friend Alphonse.
Well, Charlie, I'll let you get back to work. Is there anything else that we should know about before we go? Anything that you're doing that's just really cool or you're excited about or just anything crazy?
No, but we've been showing a lot what we're doing on Instagram. So if anybody wants to follow up the stories and everything, we have a hectic week next week. So we're going to show a lot of stuff. We're going to be showing the harvest, the different varieties for the different wines. So if anybody wants to see and is quite bored at home, want to see how we make wine, well, welcome. Just join us and we'll show you around.
Fantastic. If anyone wants to order a case of that wine from California, will you give them your tomato sauce recipe as well?
Of course. Of course.
That's something I'm going to have to get for the website anyway. I need your tomato sauce recipe.
Yeah, okay. Just let's show you just a couple of photos here from the Chilean Ocean. Just to say goodbye.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah. Is that you surfing?
Yeah, that's in Chile.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah, so that's why the Pacific Ocean here is really good. Okay, guys, thank you for calling, Heath. It was really nice talking to you, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to show what we're doing and to discuss with some people outside of this quarantine. And hope everybody keeps safe and have a good drink. And cheers, everybody.
Cheers, Charlie. Thank you. Love you, brother. Aloha.